People think lions attack when they're hungry, but that's not always true. Sometimes a lion follows you, not to hunt, not to scare you, but to wait. And the worst part is, you usually don't realize you're being watched until the moment it decides to step out of the dark. The night it happened to me, the lion didn't roar. It didn't chase. It just walked beside us. In the darkness, for miles. 3 years ago, I went on a hunting trip with 2 friends in northern Montana. It was late fall, cold enough that frost covered the ground every morning. Our plan was simple. 3 days in the wilderness. No phones, no noise. Just camping, hiking, and tracking out. The area was remote. Miles of forest and rocky hills. The nearest town was almost 40 miles away. But before we left, the local ranger gave us a warning. Watch for mountain lions. He said sightings had been increasing that year. We laughed it off. All 3 of us had hunted before, and mountain lions usually avoid people. At least, that's what we believed. The first day was normal. We set up camp near a small creek surrounded by pine trees. The forest was quiet except for birds and the sound of water. That night we sat around the fire telling stories. Everything felt peaceful, but around midnight, our friend Jake suddenly stopped talking. He stared into the darkness behind me. "What?" I asked. He didn't answer. He just pointed toward the trees. At first I didn't see anything. Then I noticed 2 small reflections, eyes low to the ground, watching us. The shape stepped forward slowly. The firelight revealed a large mountain lion, bigger than any I'd ever seen. Its fur looked pale in the orange glow of the fire. It wasn't crouching. It wasn't stalking. It just stood there, calm, silent, watching. Normally, a lion would run the moment it saw 3 grown men near a fire. But this one didn't move. It stared at us for nearly a full minute, then slowly turned and disappeared into the trees. We joked about it afterward, said it probably smelled our food, but none of us slept well that night. The next morning we found tracks near the camp. Large ones, fresh. The lion had circled our tents during the night. Jake wanted to leave, but we convinced him it wasn't a big deal. Mountain lions are curious, that's all. So we stayed another night. That was the mistake. Late that afternoon we went hiking along a narrow trail through the forest. The sun was starting to set when I heard something behind us. Leaves crunching. Slow, heavy. I turned around. Nothing. Just trees. But 10 seconds later, I heard it again. Jake heard it too. "Something's following us," he whispered. We stopped walking. The forest went silent. Then the sound stopped. We kept moving, but the footsteps started again. Always behind us. Always the same distance away. That's when Mark shined his flashlight into the trees, and we saw it. The lion, walking slowly through the forest, keeping pace with us. It didn't try to hide. It wasn't sneaking. It walked calmly between the trees, like it was escorting us. Every few seconds it would stop and stare. Its eyes reflected the fading sunlight. Bright. Unblinking. Jake whispered something I'll never forget. "It's not hunting. It's waiting." We started moving faster toward camp. The lion followed, step for step. Sometimes disappearing behind trees. Sometimes appearing again closer than before. At one point it walked onto the trail behind us. Maybe 30 feet away. Silent, massive. Its tail moved slowly from side to side, but it never charged, never growled. It just watched and walked. By the time we reached camp, the sun was gone. The forest was completely dark. We lit the fire quickly, and for a moment, the lion disappeared. We thought it had finally left. But about an hour later, Mark froze. "It's back." The lion was sitting just beyond the firelight, perfectly still, watching the camp, its eyes glowing in the darkness. Every time we moved, its head followed, like it was studying us, learning. Hours passed. The lion never left. Sometimes it would stand up, walk slowly around the edge of the trees, then sit again, always watching, always waiting. Around 3 a.m., the fire started dying down. The forest became darker and quieter. That's when the lion stood up, slowly, and started walking toward us. Not running, not stalking, just walking, directly into the firelight. For the first time, we saw how big it really was. Its shoulders were massive. Its muscles moved under its fur with every step. It stopped about 15 feet away and stared directly at me. Then something strange happened. The lion made a sound, not a roar, not a growl, a deep, low, rumbling sound, almost like a warning. But it wasn't angry. It was calm, patient, like it knew something we didn't. Then suddenly, it turned its head toward the forest and froze. The other eyes, we followed its gaze, and that's when we saw them. More eyes, dozens of them, moving between the trees. Coyotes, a whole pack, at least 15 of them. They had been creeping toward the camp in the darkness, and the lion had been watching them, not us. The lion looked back at us one last time, then it walked away, straight into the forest. The coyotes scattered instantly, running in every direction. Within seconds, everything was gone. Just silence again. At sunrise, we packed up camp. None of us said much, but before we left, Jake looked toward the forest and said something strange. That lion wasn't stalking us. He was guarding the camp. Maybe he was right. Maybe the lion knew the coyotes were coming, or maybe it had its own reasons for staying near us. But one thing still bothers me. Because before the lion walked into the forest that night, it looked back at me. Just once. And for a moment, it didn't look like a predator. It looked like something making sure we were safe. I still hike sometimes. But whenever I'm deep in the wilderness, I remember that night. Because sometimes, when the forest gets quiet, I feel like something large is walking somewhere in the trees, keeping pace with me, silent, watching, waiting, not hunting,